Hi, I'm Michael Kondrachuk, and today I'm going to be doing my case study over the Colombian conflict in South America. The research question I'll be researching today is how has global strategy played a role in the Colombian conflict and helped to reduce global insecurity? First thing I want to talk about is geopolitics. Colombia is located in South America, right here, which in Colombia borders Panama, which is in Latin America, which has very close connections to the United States, which is currently the world superpower. But in the heat of the Colombian conflict in the 1980s, 1990s, when the Cold War was going on, there was another world superpower, Russia, all the way on the other side of the globe, in the other hemisphere. Colombia acquires significance for international security, and Colombia could be persuaded by domestic actors, and we'll see one of these domestic actors is FARC. In 1966, FARC, translated into Revolutionary Armed Guards of Colombia, was founded in 1966. FARC is a legitimate terrorist organization in Colombia and the greater South America, who had power from the 1970s until present, although 1989 was when they had the most power in Colombia. FARC is a guerrilla group. It's a major actor in South America. It's an actor and it's a stakeholder. Soviets funded the FARC during the Cold War. FARC was established through a communist movement in South America, and FARC supported lower and middle class workers in rural communities who weren't fairly represented in the traditional political parties in Colombia. FARC had the most kidnappings over any other non-state actor in history, and they kidnapped important international political figures who visited South and Latin America. FARC used ransom money from these kidnappings as soft power in South America. FARC was Soviet funded, and because of this, you could say that FARC and the Colombian conflict was really a vicarious war between the USA and Russia, and this is where the Cold War was fought. One connection to international security here. FARC is an international security threat because one superpower supplies a non-state actor, which is FARC, with hard and soft power in order to fight the Colombian government, which at the time was being economically developed by the Alliance for Progress, which was a United States attempt to further economic development in South and Latin America. So because of this, the Colombian conflict was a vicarious war fought between Russia and America, showing it is an international security threat. In 1982, FARC entered ceasefire agreements, but we'll later see that these ceasefire agreements were broken. This alliance for progress, set up by the U.S., increased Colombia's economic dependence on the U.S. For example, in 1962, economic growth in Colombia had almost come to a standstill. This is key for America's power in Colombia here. America, as a superpower in the world today, controls Colombia, which is still being still being corrupted by a non-state actor. Terrorism, the FARC organization. The second main point that I would like to get to today is Pablo Escobar, a very powerful drug lord in Colombia during his reign. Pablo Escobar can be dually viewed. He is a dually viewed public figure, and he was a Colombian politician in the 1970s and the 1980s. Looking through different levels of analysis, some Colombians viewed him as a Robin Hood figure because he was so rich he would give back to the Colombians and he would try to strive for equality in Colombia. Others, like the Westerners and the Americans and the Europeans here, that's not Europe, the Europeans here viewed him as an international security threat because of how much power he had, his soft power and his hard power. His soft power came from the cocaine trade in Europe and Russia. The cocaine trade in Europe and USA. Pablo Escobar had multiple houses all around the world, mainly in the US and Colombia. Threats normally came from him that he would cause ruckus near his homes in America. This obviously shows Pablo Escobar was an international security threat and further heightens the Colombian conflict as a whole. Because of the dual views of Pablo Escobar's actions, this is where we get the conflict in Colombia back in the 1980s and 1990s. Drug lords, this is my third point. Drug lords use terrorism, which is a non-state actor, in order to increase the bargaining power within the Colombian government during the 1980s. For example, the homicides skyrocketed throughout the 1980s all the way to 1990. And 1989 was actually where the homicides took over the #1 cause of death in Colombia. Drug trade helped Colombians by the flow of money to all different parts of the country, mainly due to the refining of cocaine. The more rural and more poor citizens of Colombia would get paid even to do those jobs. This actually tightened nationalistic views within Colombia. This is also a domestic level of analysis. This also increased terrorism's power regionally within Colombia and also globally within North America, South America, and Russia. This obviously shows the international security threat here. During the Cold War, USA considered drug trafficking top priority. My last point will be global strategy in addressing the question as a whole. Global strategy has included multiple international efforts to shut down financial operations all over the world, and this has been employed in the Colombian conflict. With globalization, this is becoming harder with the advancements in technology and the interconnectedness of states. For example, different banks all around the world. Pablo Escobar had banks all around the world, so it was very hard to shut down soft power going into Colombia and going into Pablo Escobar. Strategies for fighting terrorism need cooperation between states. Cooperation between states is very hard through the realist theory because nation-states only act in self-interest. So in order for nation-states to act together, there would need to be mutual self-interest, which is, in hindsight, liberalist theory. Strategies for fighting narcotics trafficking need states to have control systems because of the ease of transmission of narcotics. This again has to be done through a liberalist point of view. Otherwise, nation-state self-interest would not allow narcotics trafficking to be fought off.